originally had this set up with this rigid over here, which you can see it's not small. And I ended up with a bunch of sawdust inside where the filter is, just as much as I had in the bucket. So I'm not a fan. Anyway, moving on. So down here we have the sander polisher. See if you can see that. It's Drill Master. Comes from Harbor Freight. I absolutely love it. It comes with different grits. I've got 80, 150, and 220 for this. And I think you might even be able to get 320. I'm not sure. And down here, I've got my air compressor tucked underneath, which is just enough for my brad nailer and sometimes the stapler. The only two pneumatic tools I have. And then down here I have a bag with this, got my battery chargers and whatnot in here. Down here is a few the jigs I made. This one over here is for making tenons, and this one is a work in progress. This holds the drill, the corded drill. Down here we have a box that easily slides out, and it's got these containers come from Harbor Freight. A little bit small. I think I'm gonna have to get something else. But this whole box here contains all my different and various size screws, whether it be the I like the zinc oxide. I like the way they look, and I think that they're a little bit stronger than the black ones. The 1 5/8 I couldn't get with the zinc oxide. I could only find those in the black, but I don't like the black because I feel like the black screw tends to break a little easier. Moving on. So we've seen the table. This is a beautiful outfeed table. This is just an old tabletop. As you can see, it still has the round over and whatnot. All it is MDF with a veneer over top. Very cheap. Something you'd find at, of course, IKEA. That's the difference in what we do here. And then we have the newest edition. I got a bunch of stuff on it right now. The Hercules table saw. This thing, let me turn on. I got the light up there, so we'll turn that on. The Hercules table saw. Boy, I tell you what, I really like this thing. You have a nice kill switch here, easy to turn on here. The way the motor is set up, as soon as you unlock this, the weight automatically helps to start in the tilt. The blade up and down, let's see if I can get this. You can hear it. It goes up very smooth. It goes down very smooth. When I start the saw, it doesn't move. I don't lose any depth. So if I set it at a 1/2 of an inch, when I turn it on, it stays at a 1/2 an inch. Not like the Ryobi. The only thing I really not fond of is this type of lever for moving the fence. However, the fence glides really nice, and I can just lock my fingers underneath and squeeze that. So, I mean, that's not bad. This fence, I absolutely love it. It's definitely wider than the Ryobi. Let me come over here. We'll grab the tape measure. And let's take a look at this fence. The blade will come up an inch or 3, I think it's like 3 1/8 or 3 1/4. This fence is coming in at like 2 7/8 high. And look at that. See if you can see it. It's like 1 9/16. A lot wider than the fence I had. The insert plate, let's move this out of the way, has a locking mechanism built in the table. That's for this side to keep that locked in. And then you turn it. See if we can get that. And then, oh, wait a minute. Well, however, here's the plate, which you can see it's not real thin, pretty well built. Let's see. Sits down in here. You can see where it sits in there. Alright, so it sits down on top of here, top of here. It kind of like locks in over here. Here. So, making a zero clearance insert plate for this should be fairly easy. I'm not sure of the size. I'll look at it later. This has a 24-inch maximum rip capacity. Let's close that up. I'm going to move some of this stuff. Alright, so here on the side of the saw, you have a lever. You just lift it up. It's a lock. Wait a minute. Did I have it unlocked? Okay, why is this not moving? Okay, hold on. I'm doing something wrong. Maybe because I got the fence. I had the fence locked in. But I mean, this thing just glides. Trying not to drop anything. I got stuff sitting up here. And look at that. And this thing, to close it up, I mean, it just adjusts. It opens and closes very, very easily. And then over here, let me open this back up so you can kind of see what we got. And then over here, you have a secondary measuring so you can see what's going on. The only thing I really don't care for is this looking glass. Because a lot of these lines are way down low or way up high where you can't see them. Whether you got the right amount of light or not, it's still difficult and hard to see. But overall, I absolutely love this saw. I think it's amazing. The fence slides very nicely. I have made a on this. I actually cut this with the rectangle in the wrong way. I had it sitting across this way when I cut it, and I had absolutely no problems whatsoever. That fence has absolutely no deflection whatsoever. The way the bar moves, it's quick, it's easy, it's smooth. In my opinion, it's better than the DeWalt, which is one of the things I was looking at. So, and then of course you got the miter gauge. One of the things that I don't like about it is that it's got the little slot on the bottom there, like so. I'd rather it just be a nice 3/4 and be squared off, but it'll work. So for the outfeed, as you can see, I opened up the back section so that I could use the miter slot. Let's see if we can move this stuff again. I'm kind of in the middle of making that desk over there, so I've been kind of going back and forth. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this in. This actually is not bad at all. It's rather rigid, and it got very little movement in it, but it will slide all the way back to there before it stops. So that gives me, so if I need to cross cut something that's kind of wide, I can go all the way back this way. And I can even come from back here, although I really would prefer not to. And for a job site table saw, let's see if I can hold this right without, I can't, okay. One thing about the job site table saws, most time you don't have much room from the end of the blade to the end of the table. And this one is really not that bad. But for larger sheet goods, this is a work in progress. This is a solid maple pillar that's been mitered, and right now I temporarily have a few blocks sitting on it. It was supposed to be the same height as this, but I didn't take into account the casters. Alright, so, well, I might as well go ahead and show you this too. Down here we have a small crosscut sled with tracks on the bottom, so I can set the workpiece up here and I can use it that way. I haven't spun it around to use this back edge yet. It slides rather smoothly. This is white oak. You'll see that hopefully in a later video. And then over there is my belt sander, my sanding box, and miscellaneous stuff. Alright, moving on. Alright, so over here we've got the clamp bench with the removable inserts, which we saw in another video. So I now have that sitting over here. And then I got my carpenter squares hanging off the edge here, and then over here I have all the other inserts that come up and down, and then the sled for the table, for the skill saw, and then there's the other router attachment. You notice I moved my clamps over, so now they're all on this wall, the French cleat wall. Moved a few things around a little bit. Not too much. I now have a place for both the Japanese pull saw and the crosscut saw here, which is supposed to be good for doing joinery. Then of course we got safety glasses, earmuffs, respirators. Over here, up here we have my mother's ashes. I want to make an urn for her ashes. And then below we have the various size brad nails, my pencils, straight edge guide. That corner is no longer full of wood. Now it just has my longboards for some upcoming projects, my bar clamps. Moving on, we have that's one of the wings for the miter saw station, where both wings extend up, giving me a perfect flat surface and support. As you can see, a couple of my old doors. These are the ones that were done with the Vegas Nights Gray. See if you can get a beauty shot of those. You can see I had a cap. This was actually attached at one time. Isn't that beautiful green? Look at that. Beautiful. That's actually, these are actually made with ash. They turned out rather well. So anyway, moving on. All right, so we got that, and then I think that's the whole shop. Well, if you stuck around, oh, there we go. If you stuck around this long, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to leave a comment down below, and if you have any questions about the dust stopper, the Hercules, or the DeWalt table saw or miter box, just be sure to leave a comment down below. Thank you and have a wonderful day.